Hi everybody, welcome to the first and, I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but maybe the last episode of the Ashcast. So, I just wanted to do a little Q&A for all the people who've stuck with me. I don't expect this video to get a lot of views, but hopefully the people who left questions will enjoy it anyways, and I won't go over the top with editing. I'll do a little bit here and there, but let's see. Let's just get through this. Hopefully you like it. I'll get right into the questions, and then maybe a bit at the end I'll talk about future plans for the channel. So let's start with the first question, Mr. Wolf 10. Hi Mr. Wolf 10, and what's your question today? Oh, he's got 2 questions. Oh, exciting. A bit cheeky, Mr. Wolf, but don't worry, you're not the only one. So his first question, what is your earliest memory of the comic? Well, I'm probably going to repeat this a few times because there's a few similar questions, but my first memory of the comic is finding it in the hospital. I was in visiting my grandfather when I was about 7. I went down to the shop out of boredom, and there on the shelf in the hospital was a Beano. I still remember the cover because I have it, but it was like this weird fat green alien with Dennis the Menace hair, and I kind of recognized the name Dennis the Menace. I think I was familiar, at least a little bit, with the cartoon at that time, so I straight away bought it, and I think I must have read it 1,000 times. And by 1,000 times, I read it at least 30 times, which is still a lot for like a 7-year-old. His second question, what motivated you to start your channel? Well, I've always wanted to do a channel. Ever since I discovered the Nostalgia Critic, Angry Video Game Nerd, it seemed like just a fun, cool thing to do, but unfortunately I was terribly awkward, and I guess not much has changed, but I'm a little less self-conscious about the awkwardness now. But what really set me off, I was just going through YouTube one day, and I saw this channel. I don't even remember what he was talking about. It was something I was mildly interested in, and it had over 200,000 views, so I watched it, and it was terrible, like really bad, but had a lot of engagement. And I thought to myself, I can make something really bad. Maybe I can get engagement. So I think if this person can do it who didn't do a good job, I can do equally a bad job, and maybe I will get 200,000 views. So far, no 200,000 views, but I think my videos were actually better than the one I watched, so I'm making some progress over that guy, whoever he was. And next question, it's from It's Jack Attack. What a name. And his question today is, who does your animation and editing? Well, It's Jack Attack, unfortunately, I do my animation and editing. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best, I swear. With the animating, I kind of hate drawing digitally. I mean, I would love in the future to maybe do some kind of streaming where I draw, but I hate digital drawing. So with the animation, I draw it by hand, I scan it all in, and then I draw over it digitally using a program, Toon Boom. And what I do is, each kind of new animation, I save it, I kind of organize it, so it always starts in its base form, and then does this little animation, goes back to its base form, and then I kind of reuse it and just add new mouths as I go. But it still takes a long time. Even when reusing mostly an old animation now, I have to redo the mouths, I have to kind of tweak things. It can be a bit difficult, but hopefully in the future I can redesign the main character a little bit, because I know a few people have complained they think he's a bit creepy, which I don't think he's that bad. Everyone's a bit mean about him, but he's okay. I think he's alright. Definitely has a bit of a death stare, but I don't think it's as distracting as people say. But hopefully when I re-edit him, remake him, I can maybe minimize that a little bit. And as for editing, yeah, I do all the editing myself. I don't get any free editors. I don't know. I feel bad if I was getting volunteer editors to do it for me, because one, they probably do it better than me, and then I would feel bad when I edit, but also I'm not paying them. So I do all my own editing. I can actually do pretty good editing if I have the time, but I never have the time. I'm working 2 jobs, trying and failing to have some social life, so editing, I do my best. If I had the time, I would like to go fancier. Not too fancy, but there's like an early Beano video where I do like a little bit fancier than normal, where I've cut the characters out of the panels, and I've done a few cool depth of field things, and I used to use After Effects to have it kind of be more dynamic, but I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. I think a lot of these videos are watched kind of like how I watch videos, just background noise, and that's kind of what I'm going for. I want to be that noise you listen to while you do important things. So we have a few anonymous questions. So this first anonymous, whoever he may be, has 2 questions. Number 1. Does the little worm on your avatar have a name, and will they start to appear in any videos? Well, anonymous, yes, the worm does have a name, and I've given him a very creative name. I've called him Wormly, and the plan is to have him appear in the videos. I was hoping to have him in the Beano #1 episode, but I just didn't have the time. My plan is going forward to draw title cards, so I have different parts of my videos, just kind of help with the flow. And the idea was I would draw Wormly in different poses, introducing part 1, part 2, part 3, and Wormly the worm would be doing wormy stuff. The worm is actually from the Buster. I was doing the Buster episode and I quite liked the worm, and I was thinking, well, there's no more Buster, so no one's using this worm, so now he's my worm, but he's distinct because he wears a yellow hat, so he's much different to that other green hat worm from the Buster. So original character, do not steal. Anonymous second question. Your channel is known for covering old school cartoons, comics and films, but what are your favorite modern examples of comics, cartoons, TV shows and films that you enjoy, and what are your favorite examples of modern media you have enjoyed in the past few months? So he also said in his question when I was reading it, this is basically anything from like the 90s on. So let's go through these one at a time. So my favorite modern example of comics, you know what, I'm going to say this one is going to be weird. I haven't read it yet, but I bought this comic 2 years ago, maybe even longer, 2.5 years ago, and it's finally been delivered. If anyone's aware of Harry Partridge, he's this amazing animator. He has a comic, Starbarians, and he's finally finished and posted his 100-page comics based on his cartoon character, so I'm very excited to read that. That's so modern, I don't even have it yet, but I can already tell because I know Harry's humor and I know what the art style looks like. There's going to be a very good a very good comic. Favorite modern cartoons. So I don't really watch a lot of modern cartoons, so it's kind of hard. Let me think. It's not even modern anymore, but I loved Regular Show. Regular Show just caught my attention. The few episodes I've seen of Gumball seems hilarious. And I know a lot of people don't like it, and I haven't watched a lot of episodes, but Teen Titans Go, the few I've seen have actually been pretty funny. I don't know why everybody hates on it. We got a full series of the original Teen Titans. Teen Titans Go, it's its own thing. It's a lot of fun. Other cartoons that are kind of modern that I'm a big fan of, even though I haven't watched a lot of them, but Hilda. I've watched season 1 of Hilda, just beautiful art style. There's this other ones with these owl characters. I've only seen an episode or two, those are really good. Wander Over Yonder, again, only seen an episode or two, but from what I've seen, a beautiful cartoon. And then other things like Steven Universe, not really my thing, but there's another one that I think the creator's friends with the guy who does the Camp Laszlo or something. Is kind of alright. You know what, I'm just going to show on the screen right now, these are cartoons I've watched an episode or two of that seemed really great, and I would love to watch more if I had the time. TV shows. So I don't really watch a lot of TVs. I don't have the attention span. Unless someone sits me down and makes me watch with them, I don't really watch anything new. I watch what I've seen in the past over and over again. But one show I'm obsessed with, I've watched it maybe 10 times back to back, it's just perfect background noise for me, is the show New Girl. Love New Girl. Love Nick. Love Schmidt. I eventually love Winston when he stops being a weirdo. New Girl Jess I could do without, but she's okay. She definitely has her moments. Other modern shows. Cobra Kai. I love Cobra Kai. I still have to finish the last season. And Outer Banks. I've gotten really into Outer Banks. At the start it was a bit cheesy, but like once you get into it, it's like a really fun show. And JJ, so beautiful. Was so beautiful. Oh, was that a spoiler? Oh, better move on. What about modern movies? So I don't watch a lot of movies. Again, I'm just too lazy to go to the cinema. I'd rather make a movie. But modern movies I've watched that I've really enjoyed, even though they're not that modern anymore, are things like Don't Look Up. Parasite was a really amazing movie. I recommend Parasite. Those Koreans, they know how to make a movie. Don't Worry Darling. A lot of people complained about Don't Worry Darling. I thought Don't Worry Darling was a really great movie. Think of the Stepford Wives, like a modern take on the Stepford Wives. Other modern movies. I don't really like modern comic book movies anymore. I'm just kind of tired of it. It's just got a bit samey. But I really like that last Batman movie. Robert Battenbat, I think that's his nickname. He's a really good as the new Batman. Not very good as Bruce Wayne, but his Batman is pretty on point. Rewinding 45. What do you think about Modern Beano? So I don't actually read Modern Beano because I really believe Modern Beano, or just Beano in general, is meant for kids. I think that's what's ruined Marvel Comics for me. Instead of keeping it for kids, they kind of made it grow up and be edgy and just kind of cringy, whereas I quite appreciate that Beano keeps it to its kid demographic. It doesn't try to keep in old fans. But what I've seen in the new Beano, like, it's not for me. Everyone gives out about the Spotty, Freddy kind of debacle, but who cares? It's fine. I'll still call them Spotty. I'm kind of a bad boy. I'll call them Spotty and Fatty. You try and stop me. The new Bash Street Kids art style I've seen, I kind of like it sometimes. sometimes I look at them like, oh, this is exactly what the series needs, and other times I'm like, oh, it's a bit awkward, but I think, give it time. I think it'll grow into it. It's hard to see them in this new art style when they had that other art style for about 60 years, but I think it's doing good, and it's got a bigger cast now, so I think what he tried to do is he tried to balance it out by just focusing on 2 or 3 characters a comic, so that's kind of a good idea. I don't like this new Dennis, though. I think, I can forgive everything else, and there's some good stuff, like they brought back the Yeti comic. That Yeti, he was like from the early 90s, maybe even earlier than that, so at first I thought it was a new character, but they just kind of revamped it, so that Yeti is quite nice. But Dennis the Menace, he's just not a menace. Like, there's a reason he's not on the cover anymore. He just doesn't have an edge, and Dennis just in particular just doesn't look as good as he used to, but it seems okay. I really like a thing they do in the new Beano, because I only skimmed through it, but they kind of have this feature where fans can like write in, send their picture, and they'll do a little comic based on the fan. Like, that's really sweet. If I was a kid, I would be sending in my picture every week trying to get on that back cover. And next question from that one lady who watches. Hi, that one lady. So she's got 2 questions, so that's like questions from 2 ladies, so things are looking up for old Ashley. 2 lady fans, kind of. So her first question: how old is old Ashley? Well, that's rude. I guess I was born in 1890, so that probably makes me 135 this year. And her second question: who is your favorite female character? Let me think. Well, I like Powerpuff Girls, and anyone who likes Powerpuff Girls, they're going to tell you they like Buttercup. Buttercup is definitely the best. Then there's, not Lizzie McGuire, Kim Possible. Kim Possible was cool as hell. Other good characters, there's definitely more. I loved Leela from Futurama. Amy was kind of funny until she started dating Kif, who was the worst. Home movies, that's probably my favorite cartoon, and I love Melissa in that. She's just, you need to watch it. She's just so fun. She's like your typical nerd character. She's not trying to be a badass, but she has this like nice little wit about her, and every time the coach bullies her and she does her sad voice, it's just hilarious.
Did you try lying on your bed and, having your eyes closed and just relaxing?
Oh, that's genius, Melissa. What a great idea. Let me write that down. So you're saying what I have to do to fall asleep is go to sleep. Right? Is that what you're saying, Melissa?
Mm-hmm.
Good, because it's brilliant. You should write a book. You should give seminars, all right? You'll make millions of dollars. Attention, all insomniacs. All you have to do to fall asleep is lie in your bed.
All right. I'm just trying to help.
Like every other woman in my life.
Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Everybody likes Jessica Rabbit. There's a great comic by a writer-artist named Mimi Pond. Her main character, I can't remember the main character off the top of my head. I think it might be Maud. I really like Maud. Maud was basically me when I was 20. She works in this cafe. I worked in a bar, and she meets all these weirdos and has all these awkward experiences. So I really related to Maud. Maud's a great character. Moving on, we have another one from Anonymous. Is this your first attempt at a YouTube? No. I've had many attempts. Well, at least 3, my favorite number. The first attempt in my old channel, you can still find it. I don't post much to it, but it's got all my old animation and films on it. I tried this series called Vlogs. So Vlogs was kind of meant to be my take on a popular YouTuber at the time. I think he was called the Grey Man. He was just this kind of weird grey man. He would just talk about his boring life in a vlog style, and I don't know why. It was never really that funny or anything, but it was just kind of so off kilter. It was really fun. So I tried to do my own version. It was kind of based on my friend V, Wojtek. He was a Polish guy, so I thought of the genius idea. His nickname is V. I'll make a series called Vlogs starring V. So V, he didn't do the voice first, so I just kind of did an impression of my friend when he was drunk. So V, when he was drunk, he would go, "Who's everybody? It's me, it's V, who's?" So I just kind of did that voice, possibly offensive, but V found it funny. Mostly. He was very serious when he was sober, but when he was drunk, he was like, "I don't sound that way, stupid mashed potatoes." So if you want to watch those vlogs, there's 3 episodes. They're terrible, but they're better than my second attempt. My second attempt, I tried to do a kind of what I'm doing now with like an animated avatar, and it was around the time of that new Samurai Jack 5th season, so I was going to review every episode, and I'll show you a clip here. And if you think my avatar now is bad, you should see how bad this one was. It was embarrassing, and I'm even more unnatural than I am now reading off the cuff, but I had to fall so I could stand up again, and now we have this channel which has over 1,000 subscribers. So thanks everybody, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. Go on, you know you want to. We have HeatXZ now. Congratulations on getting 1,000 subscribers. Thanks, HeatXZ. And his question is, what would you do if you owned the Beano and his characters, plus the Dandy characters? So this question, it's kind of hard because I can own the characters, but the problem is I don't have any money. So let's just say money isn't a problem. I can do whatever I want without worrying about budget. I can just do what I want, okay? So unlimited budget, because if I just had the Beano characters, I'd be in the same constraints they have. You can only do so much when you only have so much money. But if money wasn't a problem, I would definitely just go out of my way and hire about 20 new artists. I wouldn't get rid of any artists they have. I would just cut down their workload. I'd be like, you've got twice the time now, 3 times the time. You only focus on this one strip. It's your job. Make it look good. And the same with the new artists. I would be like, okay, here's your character. Or if you want, you can submit a character. That's your job every week. Get a comic out. Maybe do some stuff for some annuals. But that's all you're focusing on. And then again, if budget isn't a problem, I would try and push for a Beano TV series. I would try to do the format that we saw in the Beano video, but just cut it down and make it more like Animaniacs. Maybe even give a comic host. I don't know if I would use Dennis the Menace, or if there's some other character who would be better as the host, but it would be like comic panels turning. You would get 2, 3, maybe 4 characters a week. Maybe 2 longer stories, a small story, and then maybe 1 or 2 just like minute-long things. Just have it be really fast-paced, really fun. Get 22 episodes out, and again, if budget wasn't a problem, I would just put it straight to YouTube. Or maybe we could work out a deal and maybe have it on Netflix. I think people would like it. There's like a great wealth of characters to draw from. You could have random characters every season, just like out of nowhere. Just have Finlayson pop up. Everybody loves Finlayson. He was pretty good. I mean, he wasn't Lord Snooty, but he had his moments. King R Games is next. Hey, King R Games. He's an OG watcher from around 100 subs, so it's good to see him asking a question. And he wants to know, what are my thoughts on the word Skibidi actually entering the Beano? Skibidi entering the Beano. What are my thoughts? Oh my goodness. I don't know what Skibidi means. I have no clue. The other day, someone commented in like a group chat, Gorgina. That meant gorgeous. But Skibidi, let me look it up. So apparently it means good or bad or weird. It means all of them, just depends on the context. So my opinion on Skibidi, I'm very angry about it. It seems like a young person thing, and I'm not a young person, and anything that's for young people has to be bad. Though to be fair, Skibidi sounds ridiculous. What a stupid word. Think of better words, children. Next we have another from Anonymous, who has 2 more questions. God, Anonymous, you're getting spoiled today. So their first question. Who were the biggest inspirations for your channel? So I'd be lying if I didn't admit the biggest inspiration for my channel was the Nostalgia Critic. Years and years ago, when I was watching that guy with the glasses every day, my big genius idea was I'm going to download all the cartoon reviews the Nostalgia Critic did, replace the old kind of low resolution footage with new footage, and I would replace his sequences with an animated Nostalgia Critic. And I was like, that's genius, I'll do that, and then he'll see it, and then I'll be on the channel, and then I'll be amazing, just like he's amazing. But I think I started 1 episode, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is very hard. There's a reason no one else hasn't done this yet. But yeah, I was a big fan of Nostalgia Critic. Right up until he came back. I don't know. I've heard he's gotten better, but when he came back, just the skits just got way out of hand, and I just wasn't for me anymore. I moved on. I went over to the Red Letter Media camp. Other inspirations who weren't YouTube, I would say stuff like a Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I love Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I was like that weird little hipster 12-year-old waiting up late to watch episodes of Space Ghost Coast to Coast back to back. And if you watch that, you can kind of see the inspiration. It's just this repeated animation, and they just change the mouth flaps, and that's basically what I do now. So yeah, Space Ghost, the Nostalgia Critic, and the Grey Man videos. I would put those 3 as the biggest inspirations. Their second question is, what is your favorite current YouTuber? So, okay, definitely Film Cow. I think Film Cow is just the best YouTuber on the channel. I don't care about PewDiePie or a lot of those other really famous ones. Mr. Beast, I cannot stand. I'm a Film Cow guy. I used to watch him back when he was like Secret Agent Bob or some other terrible name, but he's Film Cow now, and if you like, very talented people making very interesting content, I definitely recommend Film Cow. I want to say Harry Partridge, but he doesn't really get a lot of content out, which isn't his fault. He's animating everything by himself, and it's a very, very high quality, but I think he might have some new stuff on the way, and his backlog is still very funny, so watch Harry Partridge. Other modern YouTubers I like, I love Scott the Woz. I don't even like Nintendo that much, I just like hearing Scott the Woz talk about Nintendo. Red Letter Media, I've kind of fallen a bit off with Red Letter Media. They're just getting too old, and I'm old Ashley, and I'm finding them a bit too old, but every now and again I'll put on their new video and I'll be sucked right back in. Rich Evans is a national treasure. Sorry, a world treasure. Other YouTubers I like, you know, I watch YouTube all day and I can't remember anybody. King June. I really like King June. I think he's the only kind of commentator channel who does like histories of other YouTubers that does it, you know, not totally fair, but much fairer than the others. Other good YouTubers, Red Cow Arcade. I've really gotten into Red Cow Arcade. They kind of do what I want. They talk about old YouTubers now. YouTube is nostalgic, so I like them kind of bringing on old YouTubers or talking about YouTubers from 15, 20 years ago. So if that's your bag, definitely check out Red Cow Arcade. Red Winding 45. When did you first get into the Beano and why? So like I said earlier, I was about 7 years old. I was visiting my grandfather in the hospital. I was a bold little brat. I was bored, so I went down to the shop just to buy a Mars bar or something, and as I was down there, I saw on the shelf this big green alien on the front cover of the Beano. So I picked it up, I bought it with the £5 I was given, or the £5, whatever we had in Ireland at the time, and never looked back. So I read that issue maybe non-stop for 3 or 4 weeks, and then out of nowhere my dad came home and he had another issue, and then the next week he had another issue, and then I just collected for the next 6 or 7 years. But yeah, it was just opening that first issue was just magical. Just never had anything like that before. It was just all color. There was all these crazy characters. It was like having a cartoon in your hand. Next we have Aaron McCarthy 875. Congratulations, Ashley. My question is, what are things that you like outside of the Beano, and who is your favorite Pokemon and Pokemon type? Well, thank you very much, Aaron McCarthy 875. Things I like outside of the Beano. Well, I'm a very old, boring person, so my favorite thing at the minute is watching old silent movies. Every Saturday I go to this event where they play silent movies. They usually have a musician on a piano, sometimes a harp, and yeah, it's just an hour and a half. Sometimes it's fun stuff like Laurel and Hardy. Other times it's like a feature-length movie. One I watched recently that I really loved was Mississippi in Hell, which was really interesting. You can kind of see some inspiration for future films, things like Lord of the Rings. There's like a scene that's just like the orcs in Isengard in the sewers, but it's in hell. It's I'll show it here. You can kind of see the clips. It's very similar to those Lord of the Rings scenes, I think, and I'd be shocked if Peter Jackson wasn't somewhat aware of this, or at least people working on the production weren't. So yeah, that's my favorite thing at the minute, is just watching old movies. My favorite Pokemon, well, let's pick a boring one. I think everyone needs like a cutesy, boring favorite Pokemon just as your mascot, so I'm gonna pick Lydian. I really like Lydian, this cute little butterfly boxer. So yeah, I'd pick Lydian, and then the rest of my team can be all the cool badasses, your Mewtwo's, your Charizards, but Lydian, he's my boy. And my favorite Pokemon type is fire, because there's never enough fire. If you don't pick fire at the start, it's so hard to find a decent one throughout. You have to wait till usually till near the end of each game, but maybe the new ones is different. I haven't played a lot of new Pokemon. I kind of stopped after Black and White 2. And next up we have Belts 1453. Ash, when about did you pick up and put down the Beano? I.e., when did you start reading it consistently, then stop reading it consistently? So, like I said, I picked it up when I was 7, and I think I read it for maybe 6 to 7 years after that. But to be fair, the last year or two, I was kind of on autopilot. I got the Beano because that's what I did. Every week, I'd have to get my dad to bring home the Beano. And I don't remember, I must have gone to him at some stage and I said, like, you don't have to do this anymore. It's done. It's over. But I had a good run. I think maybe 13, 14, around the time I started secondary school. I think I was a bit too old for the Beano. Anonymous, what kind of video games do you like to play, and do you think a Smash Brothers style game would work with the Beano cast? So I basically pick my video games on the art style at this stage. Of course, I like some of the famous ones everyone likes. I love the Batman Arkham games. I played that Spider-Man game that was really good, but generally I like kind of cartoony games. My favorite series is probably Crash Bandicoot. I love Crash Bandicoot 4. It's very difficult to 106%, but I got very close. I think I'll do it one day. But recent video games I played, basically just going off the art style, I got a game called #Blood. And if you like old cartoons or have interested in the history of cartoons, I really recommend #Blood. It's just chock full of all these references only kind of weirdo nerds like me would understand, like Gertie the dinosaur. I saw that and I was like, I get that. The game itself, it's kind of like Legend of Zelda, but if Legend of Zelda was Buffy the Vampire Slayer crossed with Dexter's Lab. It's like playing an episode of Dexter's Lab where you kill vampires. It's a really fun game. I really recommend #Blood. Other games I played recently that I've loved Cult of the Lamb. I think it's actually gotten a bit too big now. It's got so much content, so now is the perfect time to get into Cult of the Lamb. It'll keep you busy for months. My favorite game though, the last maybe 4 or 5 years, if it's not Crash 4, it was probably Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4 was amazing. I love those Sega games, and I see they're going to be making a new Shinobi game, so I'll have to dust down the PS5 to play some Shinobi. We have Colin Quinn now. What non-British comics have you read recently and would recommend? So non-British comics. Okay, let me think. I mentioned Mimi Pond earlier. The Customer is Always Wrong and Over Easy. They're very beautiful, well-written comics. Mimi Pond. I would love to do an episode on Mimi Pond. She's really interesting. She was the director of the Simpsons Christmas special right before they went to series, but she didn't get the job because the producer at the time, or the main producer, was going through a divorce and he didn't want any women on staff. So who knows? We would have had, maybe, I don't know if it would have been better or worse, but Mimi Pond, she did a great job on the Christmas special and she's a great artist. She should have got that job, but sexism. But buy her comics, they're amazing. Other non-British comics I recommend, The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. Really cozy, really fun comic. You can just read it by the fireplace, or if you don't have a fireplace, just put a fireplace video on your phone. It's basically the same thing. Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck, really fun comic. I had 2 volumes for ages and I've only started reading now. I've only got a bit of time. I'm halfway through the first volume and it's just a really, really good time. Other comics, actually, I have a lot of suggestions. The Goon. If you like kind of cool, noirish cartoon stuff, The Goon will be right up your alley. Just a really great comic. It's interesting. It starts really lighthearted and silly, and about halfway through the initial series, you do this kind of side comic, kind of accompaniment to it called Chinatown, and after Chinatown, the entire tone of the whole thing changes. I think they even make a joke in the comic about the tone changing. They're like, whoa, something's happened here. And I guess it doesn't really make sense in the context of the narrative because Chinatown takes place before the main series, but once he releases the Chinatown story, after that it's all pretty much serious the whole time, but there's still a few jokes here and there. But yeah, Frankie, the Goon, Lonely Street. Hopefully one day we'll get a movie. They did like a little failed pilot kind of proof of concept for the movie, similar to that Popeye one, but The Goon, definitely check out The Goon. Other comics I would recommend, this one, very obscure, Tanoharu. So I saw Tanoharu, the creator did a video about creativity and he was showing off his comic, and right away I was like, yep, loving that. So I bought all 3 volumes, and thank God I did, because they're very difficult to find all 3 volumes at the minute. So Tanoharu, how do I describe it? It's different for sure. So the narrative is about this guy, I can't remember his name, it might be like Dave or something D, but he's kind of thinking about leaving China or Japan, wherever he is. He's in the town called Tanoharu. He's an English language teacher and he's considering if he should stay or not, and then for no reason it kind of does a flashback to the previous person who was in his job, who for some reason has the exact same name. And this other character it cuts to, maybe it's just me, but he's probably the worst character I've ever read in anything ever. He's just so boring, so miserable, just completely feckless, but that's kind of the point, I guess. So you're kind of following this loser, and that's no way to call him anything else but a loser. That's what he is, and he's just so uninteresting, and the plot is kind of just around him because he's not interesting enough to be in the plot, but he's kind of tangentially related because he fancies this girl who has no time for him, but he goes out with her once or twice, and she's got a weird thing going on with this guy, and the guy's brother's involved, and then there's this like shady American family. So you almost have to read it twice to see what the plot is, because the main character is just kind of in the way of the plot. But definitely worth the read, even just for the art style. I really love Tanoharu. I read it at least once a year. More suggestions. Giant Days. Giant Days is a book about 3 British girls in university and their adventures through university life. Very relatable, especially if you went to college in the UK like I did. It was actually, I believe it started as a online series, not Giant Days itself, but the main character in Giant Days, one of the girls, she had her own comic first, an online one. And from what I've read, it's okay. But it got them the main comic, Giant Days, and that's a great series. A lot of volumes. Really recommend Giant Days. And maybe one more recommendation. I always think I don't read enough comics, but they're all popping into my head right now. A really cool one, just for the art style, is I Hate Fairyland. I Hate Fairyland, it's about this girl who gets sent to Fairyland, and she's meant to have this big adventure, except she's never able to actually get out of Fairyland. She can't solve her adventure. So she's like 30, 40 years old, but she's stuck in the body of her 6, 7-year-old self, so she's kind of violent, potty mouth. She wants to get the hell out of Fairyland, but she can't escape it. And her little fairy buddy who kind of travels around with her, he's kind of like a what's that guy from Pinocchio, the little green thing. She's got her own one of those, who's just this alcoholic, depressed weirdo. It's great. I Hate Fairyland. Really recommend that. And you know what? One more recommendation. It may be British, I'm not sure. I think it's by Derek Loffman, I think. I'll show the cover of it here. It's called Ruin World. It's very Dragon Ball, I think, like early Dragon Ball, except instead of Goku, they're all these kind of warrior animals. They've got this really cute, almost Chiba-ish style, and it's just really interesting. He's really got like this nice world. They go around on adventures, they chop stuff. I have the first 2 volumes of those. Ruin World, a really great comic. And next up we have Cold Reflections 7043. I found your channel because I've only heard of the Beano through comic reference books and really wanted to hear a more detailed and personal history of it by someone who's read it well. Thank you very much, Cold Reflections. Hopefully you've got a lot of insight into these silly little British books. So, Cold Reflections question is, what was the comic scene like growing up in your home country? So, I grew up in Ireland, which mostly consists of sheep and potatoes, so there wasn't the biggest, at least where I was from, the biggest comic book scene at all, not that I was aware of anyways. I was out in the countryside, I didn't really get to see much of anything. But you would occasionally go to the big schmoke, you'd go away and you'd go into a shop and you might see a few superhero comics here and there, but it was mostly just the Beano, and if you were lucky, maybe you'd see a Buster or a Dandy, and once a month you would see a classic from the comics. There was a few places where you could get superhero American comics, but they weren't that common, at least to me. I didn't really get to see that many. I think my first Marvel comics, my father and brother Shane got me them from America when they went to visit. They brought back some Wolverine and Gambit comics, so generally in Ireland, I'm sure there was a scene, but I was not aware of any of it. I only read the Beano. We have another question from Anonymous. What is your favorite video you have ever made? So, I think if I had to pick one, I really like my rope review. I think I did a really good job on rope. I can't monetize it because I use too many clips, but that's okay. I just like talking about rope. It's probably my favorite movie, and I think if you watch my videos before rope and then watch them after rope, I think there was like a big jump in quality. I think I kind of hit a sweet spot with rope, and there's a few, I think even Johnny Bravo, going back, like it's not the best video now, but I feel like I kind of got over a certain amount of awkwardness, and then again at rope I got over another sort of awkwardness, and I had like just a bit of a higher value than I was doing before, but rope I can still go back myself and I don't die with cringe. Well, maybe the opening. A lot of people seem to like the opening. I mean, I die when I watch it, but I think in general rope is my favorite video I've made so far. Maybe a close second might be the Buster video. I really like that Buster video. I kind of wish it did a bit better, but I'm still happy with how it did. It got a lot of good watch hours. Maybe not as many views as I want, but the people who did watch it kind of watched all of it. So yeah, rope and Buster. I think they're my 2 best so far. What do you think? What's your favorite so far? Let me know in the comments. And our last question by Wilson Films 50. Have you read any of the Marvel comics? Well, Wilson Films 50, yes I have. I used to be a really big fan of Marvel DC. I loved Watchmen and Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Hulk, Daredevil. I liked all of them back in the day. I think around 15, 16 when I was able to go to town myself and I knew the actual spots to go to buy them, I started buying a lot of those Marvel DC comics. A big favorite of mine at the time was Planet Hulk. I think Planet Hulk is amazing, and I do enjoy the follow-up World War Hulk, but it just doesn't have the substance of Planet. World War Hulk is just him beating everybody up for like 200 pages and then it kind of ends, whereas Planet Hulk has this really great story. I think I like Planet Hulk a lot because you don't need to have really read all the other comics. They kind of set the scene at the beginning with the Illuminati just blasting them off into space. After that, it's more or less new characters, new setting. You don't have to worry too much about the background. I tried to get into other Marvel stuff. I bought those Civil War comics, but I found it so frustrating because I didn't know what to buy. I was buying the wrong comic every time. I think I'd buy the main one, but it would just be Spider-Man's version of Civil War, and I'd be missing all these details, and then I would eventually buy the correct one, but it's kind of annoying needing to buy all these different bits and pieces like a puzzle. I think that's why I didn't really keep in touch or keep buying Marvel or DC comics. I just want the story start to finish. Like Scott Pilgrim, perfect. Doesn't have the best ending, but you buy Scott Pilgrim 1, you buy 2, you buy 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, and then it's done. You don't have to worry about buying side comics or this or that. You just get the whole story together. Other comics I liked, especially from Marvel, that's what you asked about, Daredevil. I think Daredevil comics are really good. At least the ones I read from the 2000s were fun. I got them off a friend. I never gave them back to him, but he had a lot of comics. I'm sure he's alright. I gave him comics too. He didn't give me those back, so we're even. DC, I really love All-Star Superman. I think that's a really great Superman comic. I like the dynamic. I feel reading it that Clark Kent is the real person and Superman's the mask, but everybody prefers Superman. There's a really nice scene where he's in prison with Lex, and Lex is just kind of making fun of Clark Kent, saying, can you imagine if we didn't have this dickhead Superman about? Maybe Lois Lane would have noticed you for who you are. And I don't know, I quite like that. And it almost feels like he doesn't break character. He doesn't become Superman when stuff gets a bit serious in the prison, but you feel like Clark is almost relating to Lex's hate for Superman. That's a really good comic. Hush is a good Batman comic, but I kind of hate it. I don't know, if you ever watch those Screen Junkies videos, they have an episode where I think it was Dan said he would have got rid of all the superhero stuff in it, and everyone like jumped down his throat, but he was right. The worst part of Hush is Superman and all this random crap you just don't need. I think it was actually that comic that put me off reading Marvel and DC. I had a friend in class and he was kind of reading out a scene like it was the coolest, baddest thing in the world, where Batman for no reason is fighting Superman, and he says something like, if I punch him one more time, I'll break every bone in my hand, and he was like, oh, it's so badass. And I was like, oh, it's so cringe. I don't think I ever read a superhero comic after that. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to stick to my sophisticated Beano funny books with their fart humor and their throwing tomatoes at people. That's more highbrow. So that covers, I guess, the question portion. So before we finish up, I'll tell you a little bit about future plans. And again, thanks to everyone for 1,000 subscribers. Just from my trends from what I was watching, I didn't think I'd get this far for like at least another 4 months. But what's going to happen next with the channel? Not much. I'm just going to keep going. I might focus a little bit more on Beano content than I have been. I still want to do old-timey movies and do pilots, but people seem to be pretty clear they want more Beano. Maybe in the future, hopefully I can do a situation where it's Beano every week and a other kind of thing every 2 weeks, as well as the Beano one, but we'll see how things go for now. One thing I definitely want to do is update my character avatar. Not a lot of people have complained about it, but like I get the odd mean comment that seems a bit much, but I think they have a point, at least with the stare. I think a fun thing I could do is, I was thinking reviewing every episode of the 90s Dennis the Menace. So just do a lot of 2-3 minute episodes, and that would give me time to animate a brand new avatar, redesign it. So every episode I could get one out a week, maybe 2 out a week, and each one could have 2 or 3 new bits and pieces of animation, and that would help me build up my library so I kind of keep on a steady schedule. But we'll see how it goes. But hopefully the end of this year I'll start that process. I'll have a new avatar. I'll kind of redesign him a bit, maybe incorporate the worm character a bit more, but that's all in the future. I'm saying all this now and I'll get to it and I'll be like, it's fine, but we'll see. I'm gonna try to improve the channel. But thanks everyone for sticking with me so far. Hopefully you'll stick with me as I do more Beano, more old-timey movies, more pilots, and yeah, leave us a comment below. Let me know what you would like to see me do, and before that guy comments, I will do Big Time. I swear, just give me a year. It's not on the top of my priorities. Big Time will be done. Like and subscribe.